Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. Back with the gang. We have what? Travis, Nick. Chad, you're dead to me right now.
Why?
Because you've never seen any good movie. And then we have Kyle and
You
Jose.
said hi to Nick, though.
Yeah, but you haven't seen Gladiator.
Neither have I.
Neither have I.
What?
I said that. That's why I was like, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I
both-
knew once you hadn't seen the other two that was going to be on there, too.
Man.
But
You guys have never seen Back to the Future?
No.
You've never seen
I've seen that one.
Gladiator?
Nope.
And you've never seen Top Gun?
Correct.
Either Top Gun, the new one, or the old one.
My brain is spinning right now.
I've seen The Notebook about 26 times.
What?
I guess I have not seen that movie either.
What?
I've seen bits and pieces of like Back to the Future. I've seen like
Great
bits and
Scott.
pieces of Top Gun, but I've never watched the whole movie.
I've watched The Patriot. Still got Mel Gibson in it.
I haven't watched that either.
That's a good one.
I'm just, my mind is spinning right now.
Any movie over an hour and a half.
No, that's funny.
No Titanic, huh?
Nope, never watched that movie.
jeez.
Either.
Come on. Oh,
You
boy.
you have no room to say, come on. No, you
I've seen
cannot say that.
Titanic more than
You
one
can't
time.
say anything, Nick.
All right,
You still
fair
haven't
enough.
seen some quality movies.
You know that's a made-up story, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was shocked that people were shocked that that's not a true story.
Travis is just finding out right now.
Wait, the Titanic hitting an iceberg or the people having a love story?
No.
on the
the,
boat?
the love story.
The love story
Okay,
part of it.
Because I knew that.
I saw his wheels
I'm
spinning.
sitting here
He
like-
wasn't sure which part you were talking about.
That was awesome.
Hey, do you know if you watch Jaws in reverse, it's a story about a shark that gives arms and legs to people without them?
Never
True
seen
story.
that movie either.
True story.
This is going well.
I can't believe you guys haven't seen those movies.
No. Better things to do with my time.
Well, the only reason this topic even came up is because today's episode is about Back to the Future, and I said Back to the Future, and then Travis said good movie, and then it proceeded to be followed by never seen it twice, and I'm like, wait, what? I didn't know that existed. I thought everybody saw Back to the Future. Now I'm wondering how many people out there haven't seen Back to the Future.
I've seen E.T.
That's good. E.T.'s a good one.
I've built the Mandalorian out of Legos.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure how that fit into that equation, but thank you. Thank you for that. That was definitely different. But what'd you guys do this last weekend? Anything fun?
Nope.
Nothing.
I went golfing and Sunday was raining, so
It did rain all
I
day
took
Sunday.
that as a lazy day after the busy weekend last weekend and being at the show.
Yeah.
I just relaxed.
Was it nice to be at home for the weekend?
Yeah, and get that. I'm not a morning person, so getting used to waking up. You know,
Extra early?
and at the same time I was before, but with the time difference in Vegas and
Yeah. Getting
waking up
readjusted.
earlier there, and like I don't know, it just kind of messed with me a little bit.
I got you. What'd you do this weekend? Anything fun?
I went to Shields.
Did you?
Yeah.
I love that place.
I bought 0 things for myself.
How?
I'm not sure.
That's impressive.
That's a
Couldn't
good
find
thing.
anything that really caught my eye. I walked
love
around that
Shields.
place for about 2 hours, but
Oh, I love going there,
found
man.
nothing.
I
couldn't-
find myself into sports I didn't even know I was into when I go there.
I couldn't even find a pair of Hey Dudes that I like, so that's telling you something.
That is, well, it's because you have every pair.
I was
Not-
just
not
going to
quite.
say.
It's not saying much when you own every one of
But
them
it's
already.
just like, you're right. How do you walk around that place for that long and
Oh,
just don't grab anything?
seriously. I find myself into like
It's weird.
different sports that I'm like, cool, fly fishing stuff. I'm going to buy some. Never been.
My cousin went there for golf shoes, left with a $2,000 crossbow. So that was
See?
kind of cool.
Those kind of things happen. You walk in, you're like, I need some beef jerky and some Crocs. Oh, crossbow.
I think I've only been in one of those places one time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I
I'm
love
glad, I'm
Shields.
glad you've been there, though.
I think I've been there. I think there's one in Eden Prairie, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I've been to that one once.
Yeah.
Did you ride the Ferris wheel?
No.
No. Well, I know what we're doing for lunch tomorrow. Taking Chad to the Ferris wheel.
I think it's only $1, so it's worth it.
I'd rather watch those movies.
Hey, you have to bring your own dollar though, hey, man. Yeah, it's no, that's cool. Shields is a cool place. Did you know they have a ShopSabre?
They
True,
do?
true story.
Sweet.
Yeah, they built some of their display stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, true story. What'd you do this weekend, Travis?
Four-wheeling, dirt biking, Harley.
Nice to be home from the show.
Yeah, it was good.
It's good to be home. Hey, you know what? I realize though I do like Vegas's heat better than our heat.
Oh, yeah.
It's been pretty decent.
I don't
especially
know.
The
like
humidity
today.
though, no thanks.
I feel like I came right back like nothing happened.
Nope.
There,
Humidity.
I was like, I don't know.
I could take that heat because when I walked inside there, I cooled off. Here with the humidity, you walk inside and then you're just wet.
Yeah.
And you don't cool off. It feels terrible. So I've learned that I do like dry heat better. It is a dry heat.
That is very dry heat.
So no, I don't think I did much this weekend either. Kind of took it easy. Worked on race cars.
Thought you went to Iowa.
I did go to Iowa on Friday night.
How was that?
We did okay. We finished 5th. Started 17th.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so we passed a bunch of cars. We got hard charger. So that's good. Got a free tire out of it.
A free tire?
Yeah, they gave me a free tire.
Did you hit it in the infield?
No, not that serious.
That was perfect.
That's all I did. But no, I didn't hit any tires in the infield, though.
Well, what do you do with a fifth tire?
Souvenir.
What good does one tire do you?
Is this a real question right now?
I mean,
Is he
you
asking
gotta
me a serious question right now?
replace each one individually, so just use the one that needs the tire.
I mean, I guess. But don't you put 4 new ones on when you change them?
No.
It's a race car.
Yeah. They don't all wear evenly.
I suppose.
Wouldn't it be the right rear?
Right, yeah. Where's the fastest? Right rear.
That's a drive tire
Yeah. Left front. Where's the least?
because that's not touching the ground.
It's
at
barely
all.
on the ground. Unless I hit something like a tractor tire.
Learn something new every day.
One of those free infield tires.
Free infield tires. But yeah. Hey, I know last week we talked a little bit about the Fave 3. The companies starting today and the ones that are growing today are like, hey, we know we need to automate. Like, this is the future. This is, this is what we expect to use. But like when we were at the show is where I really noticed. I mean, we were meeting people that were coming to the show to buy non-CNC equipment.
Yep.
For almost as much as CNC machines.
And that's exactly it. And then they get there, and we worked with a gentleman here, actually really close to us, out of Wisconsin, and him and his wife, great people, came to the show, but to buy some manual, tools. And after walking around, realized there was only 2 companies now building those tools at the show, and the rest of them were CNC. And he realized really quick, like, he has to reinvent the way he's looking at this. And his wife was pushing him really hard into, like, hey, you need to just automate. But if he hadn't gone to that show and he had just gone online, like, he would have just bought what he thought he needed, and how outdated would he have remained, or how much harder would his job have been?
Exactly.
So, I guess what I'm getting at is that, it's not the same business that your father, your grandfather, your family did years ago. You have to evolve. I guess your guys' thoughts on that topic?
I think you definitely need to adapt and change with new technology.
Yeah. No, that's definitely something that you have to do. I mean, I think adapting and changing with technology is a key to success. I don't think doing things the old way really gets you any further. You might accomplish the job, but you're not growing. You're just getting through this job. You're not really expanding.
Correct. Being able to take on more work too.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I think just like Chad said, I mean, if you're a new company, you're going to be willing to use.
So everybody knows what's going on right now. Nick wrote on his paper, adapt and change with technology, and Chad saw it, and so Chad blurted it out before Nick could say it. And that is what is going on behind the scenes right now. So that's why I asked Nick if he had anything to say, because his note is literally what Chad blurted out.
So I was trying to just piggyback off that, and like Chad said, the newer companies coming in obviously are going to want to have the latest and greatest, newest technology, right?
Yeah.
So to keep up with those new guys, the old guys obviously have to come in and adapt to what the new people are doing and to keep up, right?
Or you're just going to be doing less work.
And for me, honestly, after being at the show, finding out how many people have no idea what the CNCs can really do for them. We're talking about just one of probably 3 customers at the show that didn't plan on buying a CNC and ended up buying one once they realized what it can do for them. It's a game changer. You have to adapt, like you guys are saying, to the new technology, and it's going to take less work off your back, and the machine's going to do the majority of it for you.
Correct.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, you have to explain to people, that there is more. They don't just do what they did 10 years ago either. Like, CNC machines have come a long way in 10 years too.
Yep.
10 years ago, what they were capable of doing was much different than what they're capable of doing today. So a lot of times people looked at them 10 years ago and they're like, oh, doing it by hand was the answer. But they've never looked again because they were so convinced that 10 years ago, I don't need it. But they don't realize, like, it's not what it was 10 years ago.
And how far the software has come and the machine programming and how much better computers in general have gotten.
Well, and just in general price, people still think these things are well over $100,000. A lot of people don't realize these are now cheaper than a pickup truck. We used to say cheaper than a house. Now they're cheaper than a pickup truck.
And that's what's crazy. When we started talking about that, like, we used to always talk about that. Like, oh, it's just no different than buying a pickup. But it's actually cheaper now. Like, you buy a pickup now, and they're $110,000.
Yep.
You can buy a CNC machine for way under that.
Right.
I mean, we can get you into a machine for, what, 60, 65?
Correct.
Yep.
And that's a lot more affordable than a pickup truck.
Absolutely. It's going to make you a heck of a lot more money.
And the rear differential won't go out on it.
Or the engine.
He's looking at you, Chad, when he said engine.
I thought he was looking at me.
I kind of looked there, then there.
Yeah, a little bit of
He was
both.
eyeing you both up. He wants you guys to beat him up. But no, in all seriousness, they have evolved. CNC machines have, and the world we grew up in is not the world our kids are growing up in today. And I think that's where it goes back to what Nick said, like the up and coming businesses, and as you said it too, Chad, like they're adapting to the technology, right? Because to them, it's just like they grew up playing video games. Like a lot of these generations now they've. I was kind of thinking about the other day when I saw something on Facebook and it showed like what I think of when I hear a 20-year-old truck and what an actual 20-year-old truck is, and it's like very different than what my mind was showing me. Like I think of like the old square body trucks, and it's not. It's like the 2000s trucks, and I'm like, oh man, like it just. But mentally, I think of it being older. But like the reality is like today's generation, like when you think of a 21-year-old, I mean, they were born in 2000 still. Like, they were after 9/11. Like, it's those type of situations when you start thinking about that. And so it's like, think of all the technology that existed at that point. They're playing video games. They're, cell phones is all they've known. So like to them, they're not going to go build cabinets or signs or this stuff the hard way.
They're going to want to program it on a computer.
Exactly. They want to put it in a computer software. They want to design it that way. They took CAD design in high school.
Yep.
Like it was an actual high school class they could take.
And they want immediate results with the least amount of work possible.
Correct. I mean, and it's and I think that's where the mentality that kids are so lazy nowadays, right? But it's not lazy; it's efficient sometimes, right? Yeah. Okay. There's lazy out there. Don't get me wrong; it exists. But guess what? Lazy existed too in our generations too. There's definitely lazy people. The only difference is because we don't adapt to some of the change that they have. Like we're viewing it as it's a lazy way of doing it, right? But they just are using the tools they have around them. Why would I build this the hard way when I can do it the easy way? Like you have these systems in place for me. I don't need to write a handwritten letter and send it to somebody. I'll send them a text. Like, why would I not use this technology? And so it kind of goes back to, they say you can't raise your kids the way your parents raised you because the world that you're raising them in isn't the world that you grew up in, you know? And it's like, it's the same thing with your business. You can't run your business like your grandfather ran his business because the world you're running your business in is completely different. You can't get in that mentality that, I don't need to automate. I don't need equipment. I'll just do it, with the tools that I have. You can do that, but at some point you're going to leave yourself from, growing. Am I in the right track, you guys think, for that?
Absolutely.
100%.
And I think more automation is kind of where we're going, is it not?
For sure.
Today's world, so much automation in everything we do. I mean, you go to McDonald's now and you can order stuff all electronically now. I mean, there's a lot of places now.
Like at the kiosks?
Yeah. You don't even have people anymore. Like, there's no people taking your order.
They're going to say it's AI and drive-throughs soon,
Correct.
too.
I actually saw something kind of off topic, but we were at Sam's Club, and they have a cleaning machine that used to have a human being on it, and
just
now it's
gonna say the
computer
same thing.
controlled.
Yeah.
And I was like, somebody must have just left this thing in the middle of the aisle. It was just awkward. And I turn around like 5 minutes later, and it's cleaning.
Yeah. It's because it's got a sensor system around it, and it stops when there's people too close to it.
Yep.
But as soon as people clear themselves out, it starts moving again.
It's crazy.
Yeah. My kid watched it for, he watched it for probably a half hour while we were walking through that. Like, he just kept watching the thing drive itself around. And I'm like,
pretty entertaining.
it's like a, what do they call it? A Roomba.
Yep.
But a giant,
Big Roomba.
machine moving around.
What about those lawnmowers that me and you were looking at?
Those things are sweet, man. That'd be awesome to just be at work and know that your grass is being cut right now. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Like giant Roombas again.
Yeah.
They're just,
For your lawn?
yeah.
Sweet.
I still don't understand how that whole thing works because, like, I guess it doesn't really care. It just works like a Roomba.
I think you map the perimeter, and then it goes around and cuts within it, and like knows.
But how
whether
does
it's
it
an
know that, like,
object.
okay, as I was going to say, does it just run into objects like the Roomba does?
Yeah, I think so.
Crashes into your tree,
Kinda what it
boop,
looks
oh.
Just like hit it and then move to the side and it'll go around it.
That's crazy.
No dog leashes and no rocks. It'll do the rest for you. So
Yeah.
there was like an ad that had said something like that.
No dog leashes.
Yeah,
Basically, if you have
leave it-
dog leashes, it doesn't see that. It's just gonna wrap it up in itself.
Yeah,
that's a
or
problem.
rocks.
If you leave your dog leash out in the middle of the yard, ask
Yep.
my wife about that.
Or dog poop. It's just gonna sling it everywhere.
Well, not really. It's not cutting your yard that short.
You sure?
You're right. Unless you're cutting your yard that short, but I have dogs.
The only issue I had is if you run it
Doesn't
over.
fling poop everywhere.
Yeah, if you get it in your tires, that sucks. But otherwise,
Yeah.
it doesn't usually hit it with the
Yeah.
mower.
My dad lied to me.
My dad lied to me, he says. That's funny. Yeah, no, but it's actually kind of fun at my house. My kids like to leave crap all over the yard. And so I remind them, and I've reminded them forever, that if it is in the yard when I'm mowing, Dad doesn't stop. It's just going to turn into shrapnel. And I'll tell you what, you run over one beach ball in the yard in front of them, and they've never left a toy in the yard when they see the mower fire up. They are sprinting to the yard, grabbing every toy they can out because they know that Dad's going to start running stuff over. But I ran one beach ball over one night because I knew it was just a beach ball and it didn't really matter. You know, truth be told, I probably wouldn't run over one of their toys because it'd probably wreck my mower more than it would wreck their toy. But they don't know that because they watched Dad at full speed clean a beach ball off in front of the mower and it came flying out. And I looked right at him and I said, shouldn't have been there. Now they don't leave anything in the yard. When they see me fire the mower up, they are out there sprinting and they're yelling at each other. You get those toys, I'll get these ones. Like, they just know that they better move them out of the yard.
That's a good system.
Yeah, it's great.
I got to get my kid on board with that.
Just got to leave a beach ball out in the yard and mow it down in front of them. Oh, yeah, it was pretty good. But back to topic, as we were talking about the automation. What are you doing over there, Nick?
Good.
Falling out of your chair?
No, the mic almost tipped over.
Because you were trying to sleep?
He's making sure that Chad doesn't read
I
his
was trying to
paper again.
Yeah, trying to flip my page without sharing my notes.
Trying to save his notes.
He's like the kid in school trying to cheat off your test.
I saw it written all big that's why I had a big smile when I sat down. Initially, it's because I seen it. I'm like, I'm stealing that.
But speaking of stealing things, you know, when you look at that, you know, when you look at other manufacturers, you got to take what works for them, right? I mean, you know, look at Amazon. Amazon has made a boatload of money off of automation, right? I mean, there's anybody who hasn't done it, I encourage you to go out to YouTube and search Amazon. What is it? You search Amazon's facility technology, and they actually have a video they did on it. It was on I don't know if it was on How It's Made or one of the channels, but they showed like the way that Amazon's fulfillment centers work, and there's a lot of them that actually have robots that drive around and actually carry the carts from one area to the other. Like, there's not people doing that. Wow. And like, if something falls off the rack, they all drive around it. Like, they don't stop. They just keep driving around it. And then like at certain times, somebody will go out and clear the area. But they just are like, they're so efficient in their automation that like, that's how they move products so fast. And that's how like same day delivery and the next day, because they don't have people out there doing it. It's just an automated facility that's like a sorting facility that basically just moves product from one section of the building to the next to go on trucks.
I'm going to actually check that out.
Yeah,
I'm interested now.
It's pretty cool. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. But it kind of makes you think, like, if automation works for those companies at that level, why wouldn't it work for your company?
For sure.
You know, like having a CNC machine cut your cabinets or a CNC machine cut your signs, to me is a no-brainer. Like, why do you have people still doing that when you can have your people doing something that they're better utilized for? Cutting product is a small part of their day when you could have them assembling things, you could have them installing things, you know, the customer service side of things. They can be, actually selling the next product rather than sitting there in the shop for 40 to 80 hours a week trying to cut the parts. So, to me, that's what it is. Today's world, there's just so much more automation. And, like I said, yeah, there's a lot of things that come from overseas. Obviously, that still exists. And that is what it is, right? But it comes to automation, I feel like it's a very different world because most overseas products, you get little support with it, right? Like, you don't need it. Like, if you're going to buy a part or a product from overseas, most of what people depend on, I kind of think about products that are kind of throwaway products in your home, Like, how often do you call your TV manufacturer? How often do you call your computer monitor manufacturer and ask for tech support?
Never.
You don't.
Buy a new one.
You buy a new one, right? I mean, if something goes wrong, 90% of people throw them away.
Yep.
The TV's not working anymore. They don't sit there and, I got to get this repair. Nobody repairs them. They just throw them in the garbage. They go buy another one. And the same goes for, most of these overseas products, right?
Yep.
When you think about things that come from overseas, they work till they don't work anymore, and then you just get rid of them. CNC machines are not that,
Shouldn't be.
right? I mean, that's where, when you think about it, is like, we got to start thinking about it, because when you look at tools in your shop, these aren't throwaway tools most of the time. I mean,
Right.
the average person is not just buying new tools every week. They're buying tools that they're planning on using for years to come.
Be expensive if you did that.
Right. I mean, I think about that. Is anybody listening to this, if your employees were breaking tools every day, would you just allow them to keep breaking them?
No.
No. You're gonna have a conversation about that, right? Well, this product is what you depend on daily, right? To do your job or to make a living, and this product's going to be something that you need to work, or you have to make some uncomfortable conversations or calls and have some uncomfortable conversations with your customer. Do you not?
Yep.
Hey, my machine's down and I can't meet your deadline. That's a problem. Like, your customer's not going to understand that. You might find, a handful of people that do understand it, but a lot of them are not going to be okay with that. I can't move into my new house because you couldn't get my cabinets done in time. Like, that's a problem for them. Or I can't open my new store because you couldn't get the signage done. Like, those type of things are a real problem for people. And so it's not like you can just ship stuff overseas to have somebody else do it. You have to think about this in a different world. Like, CNC machines are a necessary part of the growth in today's work. And you simply can't find craftsmen like you could 20, 30 years ago. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, there was a lot more people going through trade school to be a carpenter, right?
Yeah.
You just don't see it as much anymore. I'm not saying it doesn't exist there and that they shouldn't be doing it, but unfortunately, that's just not the world we live in now.
I forget where I saw it, but they said like the average age of a woodworker 20 years ago, 30 years ago was like 28 or something, and now it's like 39.
Yeah.
So like the whole industry as a whole is getting older. So in like 20 years, there's going to be even less people that are doing the work.
And that's the point, is how do you grow a business when the industry is getting older?
When people aren't getting into it, kind of
Correct.
like working on cars,
Exactly like working on cars. I mean, we talked about this, Chad, you and I. Your car had an issue, and you brought it into the shop, and what did they want to do?
Replace the engine.
They just wanted to replace. They didn't want to fix it. Just, you have to buy a new engine. But like, you go back 10 years ago, they'd take the engine apart and they'd fix the engine.
Yeah.
But people aren't doing that anymore. They're not. You don't have the people that used to take apart engines and do the specialty work. People are going through the ASC certification, getting their mechanics degree, and they're being taught how to replace parts, not fix cars, replace parts.
And I think 30 years ago, there were a lot more people like I do transmissions and I do engines
Correct.
and I do interior. Now they expect everyone to do everything, so
Correct.
you don't get overly good at anything.
Exactly. It's like a Swiss Army knife.
Yep.
Do a little bit of everything, but nothing great. It's the same thing that you get from techs. It's the same thing you start to get from some of these overseas products and these machines that they really aren't purpose-built.
Yep.
They're just a machine imported by somebody with other name on it. They're not going to do the job to the level that you need them to do it.
They're just meeting a demand.
Yeah. And, like I said, CNC machines are kind of the next step. Since you can't find the people that are skilled and, craftsmen, you have to find the equipment that can do what you need it to do.
And there's going to be even less of them in 5-10 years.
Agreed, 100% with that.
Right.
And reality is, like I said, kids today are playing video games. They're not out building things.
They're going to school to be DJs.
Yeah. They're being, like, seriously, like, my kid, like, jokes about, like, and I always give him a hard time about it, but he jokes about how he wants to be a YouTube star.
They're called influencers.
Yeah, but he calls the YouTube star.
My kids say that same thing. Same
Right?
thing.
And it's like, my kid's 9, okay? I'm not going to get on him about it. He's 9 years old. I'm going to let him be a kid and let him just have fun. But it's like, when I was 9, I never told my dad I wanted to be a YouTube star.
I was going to be a professional baseball player.
Exactly. I was gonna play professional sports. I was gonna be a professional race car driver. I told my dad. At 9 years old, I wanted to be a race car driver or a police officer. That's what I wanted to be. My kid wants to be a YouTube star or a hockey player, but probably a YouTube star, Dad. That's literally what my kid says. So it's like, when you think about that, you got to think about the world we live in now. Like, my kid, and I'll say it flat out. I have 2 boys. I do let them play video games. I let them play in moderation, of course, but my 9 and 6-year-old, they're better at video games than I am in certain, things. Like, they're just their hand-eye coordination is so incredibly good They're like, I'm sitting there like trying to play with. I'm like, like my kid gives me a hard time. He's like, Dad, why don't you play this game? I'm like, I don't even enjoy it. Like he's so good that it's just like, dude, I want to watch you play because you're better. You know, like I don't even want to play. I want to watch him.
I think that goes back to them being on tablets.
Correct.
Like since they're
For sure.
2 years old. Like when I was 2, they didn't have a tablet to play with, and when I was 6, 7, it was a Nintendo with 2 buttons or a dial-up computer with the Oregon Trail on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Same here.
Syphilis got everybody. But the reality of it is it's the truth of where we come from. I mean, even in school, they use tablets for everything.
Yep.
Like school, the kids get, I don't remember what do they call them? They Chromebook, right? Yeah, the Chromebooks.
Chromebooks.
So they don't have 70-pound backpacks with these
No.
big old.
No.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
they get a
no-
Chromebook.
No textbooks.
Zero textbooks.
No.
It's all digital.
Yeah. My kid has a Chromebook and he brings it home and he checks it in, checks it out. Like that's what it is. And like, but they're teaching them on that. So what makes you think in 10 years? Like, and that's what I remind you, okay? My kid is 9 years old. In 10 years, he's 19. He's in the working force. He's working for somebody in 10 years. Do you think he's going to be out there cutting cabinets by hand? No, the kid's going to want to play on a computer or push buttons, right?
Yep.
That's what he's going to want to do. And I get it. He's not going to work for me, but he's going to work for somebody.
I
You're
talked
going
to a
to be
lot
working
of,
for him.
Maybe.
I talked to a lot of these customers too, where they're in their 50s, 40s, whatever it may be, and they've got kids that are younger, in their teens, and they're like, "No, they'll just run this machine for me. They learned it all in school."
Correct.
So I mean, the schools right now are still heavily pushing CNC. We
That's
sell a
exactly.
lot
There's
to 'em.
CNC programs now. There's a lot of stuff with that, and kids today are good at automation. I mean, they are, and the future is going to depend on automation. It's simple. They're going to force that to happen.
Yep.
The next generation coming through is pushing automation, and the shops who are adapting now and building these future growth opportunities are going to be the ones that are accepting the big jobs and are going to be getting the work they need to get. And you're going to find that the other thing is you have people out there that are in their 50s and 60s right now. They're like, well, I don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to work then. If you want to sell your company, it's not going to be worth anything without automation. Because no up-and-coming person is going to be like, I'll give you a bunch of money for a business that you built that's still outdated.
Yep.
They want to see that you're moving forward. So even if you are thinking about retirement in 10 years, maybe less, setting that shop up for success is going to give you more money on the exit. Because they look at it as it already has CNC technology. I want to have that. They don't want to be the guy that has to come in and now revamp the whole business. I might as well just start a new one from the ground up.
Correct.
You have to think about that.
That's a good point.
What's your thoughts on shops that adapt to CNC versus shops that just simply are not, guys?
I think shops that can adapt to CNC get more jobs done and can do a lot more income in a year.
I agree 100% with that. I think personally, like, you're not working any harder, but you're making more money.
Correct. Also,
You already used both of them.
Just looking at Nick's paperwork again. What do you think about it, Nick, though?
I mean, I think like Chad said, they're going to get more jobs done, be more profitable, but you're going to get it done in a lot less time. You're probably going to have a lot less employee issues.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before, you're not have employees that don't show up.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to rely on that. You have a machine in your shop that's going to be there ready to run as soon as you fire it up.
Well, that's exactly it. The worst thing is, it snows out, right? We're in Minnesota. It snows. People can't make it to work. Like, we have a customer of ours, Shannon, southern Minnesota here. And it's my favorite. Every time there's a snow day, like when it snows really bad up here, he always posts a live video of his shop. And he says the employee made it to work today, and it's a CNC machine cutting. Like every time. And I just love it because it's the truth. When everybody else are saying, like, oh, my employees can't make it in, roads are shut down, he's still cutting. So he doesn't fall behind on deadlines. And yeah, he might not drive to his customer's shop that day and deliver stuff, but he didn't lose a day's worth of work because he's not waiting on people to show up to do the work.
Yep.
And you'll probably have a lot less wasted materials doing it this way too, right?
Well, the
You
yield
don't-
is so much better, yeah, for
you
sure.
don't have to deal with mistakes of hand cutting.
Well, and
using
the
a saw.
accuracy and the repeatability. I kind of go back to one of my best friends. He recently just started with a company that just bought one of our machines from me. And watching him going from his old CNC that he has, one of our older models, he just cannot believe going from the 4860 to the new IS 510 what amount of work they can get done. I mean, it's just insane. I watch the videos, the quality of their buildings now. They do cabinets for all of their shacks.
Yep.
It's just unbelievable. And I get to watch it every day now because it's where he works, and I get to see that IS going to work every day.
Yeah, and it's a big part of people, what they don't realize is like even CNC machines from 10, 15, 20 years ago have advanced.
Yep.
I mean, we know that about our own machines, right? We went from a single ball screw driven to a double ball screw machine. They're faster. They cut better. Like you get performance increases. So there's still a point where it's like after 10, 15 years, you upgrade. You do things. Even if you adapted to it 10, 15 years ago, making sure that you're using the latest. And that's where like the Fave 3. We introduced the Fave 3. It's a complete game changer.
Yep.
But it's like shops that were running the old style of CNC machines 10 years ago, point-to-point machines as an example, like there's still an upgrade for them to make. And good.
Well, you saying that just kind of made me think in the 9 months that I've been here.
Yep.
All the different things that have changed on machines that have improved them in just that short amount of time.
Yeah. Now do it over 23 years. Like it's a lot. Technology advances, and really in the last like 5 years, we've seen a huge, advancement in technology. I think like there's been a push everywhere. Software, computers, phones, what phones are capable of doing nowadays, the automation stuff. Like, guys, we just got back from Las Vegas, and the automation systems that they use down there, like everything is controlled with a tablet, and it's just crazy to watch how many things are automated based on one thing happening, another thing occurs.
Did you guys have hotel rooms that were run that way?
Oh yeah,
The entire room is run on a tablet.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild. You don't even have to do
No light switch. I never touched a
anything.
light switch ever. Like
No.
you just it's all automated, and it's crazy. Like you can set the alarm, and the alarm wakes the TV up, and the TV wakes the radio up, and the this happens with the lights and the blinds, and I'm like, my God, like it's crazy. But you start thinking about that stuff, and it's like that's the way your shop can work too. Your software can help you produce more because the software tells you what to order. And then by doing that, it tells you how much yield you're going to get. And it tells you how many labor hours you're going to need. And then how much the machine time it's going to need.
Nesting your parts.
Yeah. Like it's just so many things that you can do that cut down on the amount of waste. And, let's talk about how the future has changed. That's where it is. Like I said, we had that gentleman come to the show that was looking at buying a panel saw. And he walked out with a brand new Pro Series router.
Yep.
And when they walked away, they realized that the world had changed on them. Like it's, 2 to 3 panel saw companies total is what we saw at that show.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that what it was? I don't think it was more than that, was it, Chad?
I don't know. Honestly, I remember looking at all the different machines, and
Yeah,
it was kind of overwhelming, just all the different stuff they had down there.
Yeah, there's so many different products that you can look at down there, exactly. But yeah, there was over 20 plus CNC companies there, and there was 2 or 3 saw companies. I think it says a lot right there.
Big time.
Because like when I went to my first show ever, there was more saw companies than there were CNC companies. Like I was one of the few CNC companies when I was at the show. And most of them were saw companies selling panel saws.
That's crazy.
And now it's significantly the other way.
Well, obviously there's a use for a panel saw in some applications, but why would you buy something that you spend that amount of money on when you could just buy a CNC that could do the same thing?
Comfort. So, some people, it's just a comfort thing.
Or they're just simply not educated. They don't know what the CNC
And some
can
of
do.
it is, depending what you're cutting, panel saws are still good for certain applications. There's going to be situations where if you're just cutting lines, right, you're just cutting pieces, like a panel saw still works really well for that. But like if you have to put a dado in it, you have to put a hole in it, a shelf hole, and like you can automate that whole entire process into one versus one part at a time. So, yeah, like again, if you were building pallets all day long, a panel saw might make sense there, right? But cabinet makers and sign makers, they can't. A panel saw is not going to do them any good compared to what a CNC can do.
Right.
And like I said, you walk around the show and you see them demonstrate those, and then you start thinking about the efficiency, and really it's the efficiency deficiency, if you will, right? It's just not efficient. You're watching somebody lug around all this material, and it's like, just get a CNC machine. It'll make life way easier. And so to me, the days of designing things by hand and sketching them on a piece of paper, they're gone. Like, it's moving to the simplicity of CAD CAM. We met a lot of companies that came to the show that were designing by hand still. And then they were talking to Mosaic, Cabinet Pro, KCD. They were talking to all these companies, and they were finding that these softwares are not $30,000 anymore. You can now rent them for a couple $100 a month.
A lot more affordable.
Yeah, and they're easy. They're not hard to do. A lot of it's already pre-designed. You just type in your dimensions, right?
Yep.
So rather than having to sketch something out, you just type in the dimension of the cabinet you need and it builds it. To me,
A couple $100 a month is going to make you a lot more money than having yourself sit there and draw
sure.
for hours and hours and hours.
well, what do you value your time at? Let me ask you guys that. What do you value your time at?
50 to 75 an hour.
Okay. What do you value your time at?
Yeah, I mean, at least that.
I'd agree. Yeah, it wouldn't be any less.
I value my time at $100 an hour. Every time I do it. Anytime I've ever done anything, and I learned that a long time ago in business, that when I actually bought into my first business, when I was actually an insurance agent, it was what they taught me in school. Like the first thing they taught me in business school was value your time at $100 an hour. If it takes you an hour, it costs you $100. Not because you're going to pay yourself $100 an hour, because you could have made $100 that hour. You have to pay yourself. So say you are $50, as you said, Chad. You still, to break even, you need to make $50. But how much money could you be charging or could you be making? Most shops nowadays are $100 to $150 an hour. Yep. So if you're not valuing your time at $100 an hour, you're under-evaluating yourself, right? And so therefore, if you have to do something without automation and it takes you an hour, it costs you $100. If you do that 10 times a month, it's $1,000 you just spent. Can you justify that payment now? I bet you can. You know, and you think about how long does it take you to draw a kitchen by hand? 6 hours? 8 hours? Okay, so that's $600 to $800 for one kitchen. You want to draw 2 or 3 a month? $200 a month for a CAD/CAM program, it's pretty affordable when you think about it, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, to me, that's what people, you know, that's where they miss themselves. They misappropriate their time and money. Well, I've already paid myself, so it's free. No, it's not, because you could be doing something else. Every time you do something, you could be doing something else. So I think you have to, you know, consider what it may take you to draft something manually versus software. You know, what it takes you to cut something. If you cut it wrong, what it takes you to do it twice. The material used, you know, the yield alone. Like you said, Chad, nest something out and you could save material. If you use 10 sheets less a month, what's the cost of a sheet? You know, $70 a sheet, $100 a sheet.
It all adds up.
Yeah, $700 to $1,700 in material that you save per month by nesting. Right there. Does that pay for a machine?
Absolutely.
Probably.
Pays for the software.
Yeah. You know, business is getting easier. It's just simple as that. I think a lot of people, they struggle with it because they feel like they're not working as hard, right? Everybody feels like, oh, we're not working as hard, so we're not as busy. No, business is easier than it was 10 years ago. Automation has made life easier. It's supposed to take some of the pressure off. People don't have to work 80 to 100 hours a week to be successful anymore. You can do it easier now. I mean, my kid wants to be a YouTube star. You know? Get enough followers, right?
Yeah,
That's
Look
the
how
goal,
many of them are out there.
right?
A lot of them.
There's a lot of people doing it. But my point being is, like, you couldn't do that 10 years ago.
No.
Now you can. You know who YouTube star was 10 years ago? Johnny Knoxville.
Oh my God.
That was
He
like
would've been
our
older than that.
But that's like our equivalency, you know? It was like
He
when
would have to say
Jackass came out.
20 years.
Like when Jackass came
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Like his last movie was 10 years ago, I'm pretty sure.
The last one, but
yeah,
the first
but that's
one
my
was
point.
like early 2000s.
Yeah, that's my point. But like that movie, you know, and that series, you know, like that was like our YouTube star, if you will, right? Like, but it was one person that everybody thought of, and they did dumb stuff. You know, they did stuff that was just rude, crude, like not everybody liked it, right? But they made a ton of money doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like the world has changed so much now that you don't have to do that for the attention anymore. Like you can make money doing so many other things now. And it's like, that's where the CNC automation, I mean, you could get your own CNC machine and charge other people cut time on your machine and pay for the business.
Still, one of the biggest complaints I always get is getting a machine because I'm sick of paying for someone else's and their lead time is too long.
Yep.
Price is
Right.
too high.
Quality's going down, lead time's going up.
Yeah. Adding the right automation to your business will make a difference. You know, there's so many things you can choose from. You know, you have different options, of course. You have different machines, different processes. But the right consultant, in my opinion, you know, working with the right people should help you process what should be, you know, what should be or what shouldn't be in your business. You know, I think for you, becoming, you know, automated should be an easy step if you're working with the right people. They should be able to tell you if you're buying the right equipment.
Correct.
You know, if you're looking to, you know, buy a CNC machine and you want to buy something, you know, that is quality, you know, just you start asking around, and a lot of times you'll find your way. But obviously, find a company that's willing to talk to you about what you're doing, not just trying to sell your product.
Yep.
ShopSabre.com.
That's a good place to go. With us, I think for us there's a lot of new companies out there. I will say that, right? A lot of new products in this world. There's a lot of things that you can consider. As automation becomes more apparent, there's more companies jumping into it trying to sell you a privately labeled product, right? They didn't build it, but they privately labeled it and tried to sell it to you. And then you have kind of the backbone of the industry, and it's guys like ShopSabre and, people that, built this industry together. And we're innovators. We come up with new technology, the Fave 3 as an example, but we do things to drive the market forward, and we listen to what the customers are saying, and we actually do something about the manufacturing. We don't wait for somebody else to manufacture it and then sell it to you.
Right.
We go after it. We try to build those solutions, and I think your business is the same way. You build product for your customers to solve problems. If your customer is going to send their business to you, why would you ship the business out to somebody else? They're coming to you. They want your product. They want you. If they wanted to buy from overseas or a distributor or a large big box store, they just go do it themselves. The reality is they're using you as the avenue then, right? So if your name's on it, you want to build a quality product. It's the same way we are with our CNC machines. Like, we want to build something that we're proud to have our name on. And that's where it comes back to. Don't buy cookie cutter options. When your business is not a cookie cutter business, you're not running a franchise. You're not a McDonald's where your menus, everything's the same and everybody expects to get the same thing everywhere they go. You are a custom cabinet maker. You are a custom sign maker. You are the reason why they come to your business. Right?
Right. For sure.
ShopSabre.com.
I've seen the movie about McDonald's, the founder.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's a pretty good movie. Yeah.
Talking about how they move stuff around in the kitchen to make
Yep.
it more automated. So when one guy was someplace, the other guy was somewhere else, and they
Correct.
never cross paths. And they spent so much time with just designing the kitchen layout to deliver
Absolutely.
fast, quick food.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. I'm really big into watching a lot of those kind of things. I watch a lot of the documentaries and things about automation and stuff and how it's made. I love watching that show because you just see how thought through a lot of those things are. Rather than just buying something, they're actually thinking how can we do this streamlined without ever going backwards in manufacturing.
And it was the ketchup, down to even the thing that they used to put ketchup on each burger.
Yep.
It was the same thing, and they pressed it to one button, and each burger got the exact same amount of ketchup.
Yep.
Exact same amount of mustard.
I think I actually saw that same one.
Surprised?
The first thing I thought of was Super Size Me.
No, it's called The Founder.
It's called The Founder, yep.
Yeah, no, I know
forget
what you're
who's that
talking about,
guy.
though.
Yeah, it's a documentary on how McDonald's became.
This was a movie. This was a movie with I forget his name. He's kind of a big actor. Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Kyle knew.
Good job, Kyle. Kyle's giving thumbs up across the board. But no, it's but that's the thing is you got to think about big corporate companies became as successful as they did by efficiency.
When it was taking care of all the little stuff.
Yeah, that's my point. If you get efficient and you take care of the things that nobody else is thinking about, it's going to help you.
Yep.
And that's what I think a lot of people, have to start thinking about in their cabinet business and their sign business and their fab shops is stop doing things the old school way. You got to start automating. And yes, it's going to cost you a little bit of money up front, but how much more money will you make at the end of the year when you're not wasting your time doing the same job 3 times or touching the part 4 different times to do the same thing?
Yep.
You touch it once, it does the job, you have a finished part. Yeah, it costs you a little bit of money to invest in some automation in your future. But at the end of the year, I have never met a company that was like, man, we should have never automated our company.
We should have kept that panel.
We should have gone back to panel saw cutting. I've never heard of a company being like, I sold my CNC machine, went back to panel cuts. Nobody does that. The ones that do it, it's because they didn't take the time to learn. If that person exists out there, it's simply because they bought the wrong machine or they had the wrong people helping them,
Correct. It's like buying a machine with a bad vacuum pump or not a bad pump, an incorrectly sized pump for
Yeah. Correct.
that
Yeah, if you have the
machine.
wrong parts, it's not going to work right.
And they're like, oh, my friend said vacuum doesn't work. Well, your friend ordered the wrong part.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, again, it goes back to nobody bought a pickup truck and then was like, well, this didn't work out. Let's go back to horse and carriage.
Right.
It didn't happen. It's just you keep evolving, keep getting better. And yeah, can you end up with the wrong vehicle? Yeah, you can end up with the wrong vehicle. But that doesn't necessarily make all vehicles bad, right? Nope. Same thing with CNC automation. You can end up with the wrong machine, but it doesn't make all machines bad. So I would encourage you, do your research, talk to people, obviously call our team, right? You guys
Get educated, ask questions. I love answering questions, helping people.
Costs you nothing to give me 15 minutes of your time to educate you.
Your phone calls take longer than 15 minutes.
And it does cost me something. I'm worth $100 an hour. Apparently you forgot that part.
But it is. Most of our phone calls are a half hour, 45 minutes of
Absolutely
trying to educate people and give them as much information as possible. So when they're out there looking at things themselves, they know what to look for and what not to look for. And
yeah, Travis owes you $25 when you're done.
Travis owes me.
Everybody.
Nice.
15-minute conversation, $25. But in all seriousness, yeah, you're right. I mean, even if you don't buy from us, you're going to learn something. Mm-hmm. I will promise you that. And if nothing else, it will help you with a future decision.
Correct.
Wherever you're going with it. And obviously, we got some sales going right now, guys, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Got some cool stuff that we're running out right now. Obviously, the Fave 3 is at a discounted price right now, which is huge. Introductory price on the Fave 3. So get your new ShopSabre, get a Fave 3.
15 tool positions.
15 tools, 3 automated up on the gantry. It's just super awesome. Yeah, you can't really go wrong there. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool things going right now. We actually just launched a new video, did we not, Kyle?
Did.
It's called What America Made Looks Like. Is that correct?
Made in America.
Made in America. But it's cool because it actually shows you what a Made in America product looks like. It's not just like, hey, watch it come out of this crate and then we put our name on it. It's actually, we show you how we make machines and the facility and the people that do it. We talk about it.
Or, look, we're made in America, but we have 8 machines in this super clean room that are all on crates.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. We actually are building machines. You can actually see manufacturing.
See guys welding and see guys painting and building the electrical.
Speaking of painting, they have a pretty cool scene in that video.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Breaking Bad.
That's what it was. It was the Breaking Bad scene.
Yep.
They come busting out of the paint booth. I thought that was pretty cool when they did that. So kudos to you guys over there, Jose and Kyle. Jose is pointing at Kyle. Kyle, kudos to you.
Good job, Kyle.
Yeah, you guys did a hell of a job.
Yeah, that was a sweet shot. So if you haven't seen it, you need to go out to our YouTube. Correct? It's on YouTube, on our Facebook. It's on Instagram. No, not on Instagram. Not on YouTube. We said YouTube? Is it on our website?
LinkedIn. It's on our website.
It's on our website as well. So,
It's on X.
or you can just, is it on X?
Yeah.
Is it on there?
I put a link on there, yeah.
Oh, nice. It's on X. Hey, is it on our Threads? Is that on our Threads account? Not on there.
I think it's trending on MySpace.
It's trending on MySpace.
What about Twitch?
You're uploading what on videos?
Fave 3 is going to be the first post.
Fave 3 is coming to Threads. So if you're on Threads, make sure you find ShopSabre. We are on Threads.
What's that?
There it is. I knew it. I was waiting for it. It's a new social media site.
It's the Facebook spin-off of Twitter.
Yeah.
So Twitter's now X and Facebook's now Threads?
No, Facebook is still Facebook.
Facebook's still
but
Facebook.
They made a thing called Threads that's like Twitter.
They just need to bring MySpace back.
Let's make it a comeback.
We would all be much better.
I just want to be able to play music in the background and not know where it's coming from.
Change my profile color.
All I know is you open the screen, you don't know where the music's coming from and how to stop it. Yeah, no. I want to be able to, yeah, I think we should get MySpace back, though, because then we can make the eagle crying noise as our song that plays when you come to our page. It's just the sound of an eagle, which is freedom,
That'd
which
be
is
sweet.
American made. So that's what we should do. Hey, guys, can you get us a MySpace account? Cool. Jose said he's going to get us a MySpace account. I wonder if Tom's still out there perusing that thing.
Tom's probably 70 and retired.
Tom's like, I don't really care.
We got Tom Jr.
Tom Jr. But yeah, so like I said, we have a bunch of cool new videos coming, bunch of stuff. We're actually working on a new website update. Pretty excited about that. That should be coming very soon. I don't know what noise I just heard over there. I think they're playing videos over there.
Something.
They're starting the MySpace.
Is an eagle crying?
Was it?
I don't know.
Was it Eagle Cry? But, with that, we better get back to work. So I'm Brandon.
I'm Chad.
I'm Travis.
I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
That's Jose. Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.